All right. Change subject. I want a fellowship about Sister Lee. I want a fellowship about her not because that only that she is the wife of Brother Lee. I want the fellowship about her because there's something really, really wonderful about a pattern. And I want to show that pattern to you. Sister Lee passed away on April the 30th, and she was for 36 days without water. I mean, without food. And it's really amazing. But I'm going to tell you something more amazing. And the reason why I want to talk about it is not just because, she just passed away. There is a big part of the recovery is composed of sisters. And I want to say a word to the sisters. And then another big part is the retired people, and I want to talk to the retired people. Of course, here you have a big percentage of full-timers, and I want to talk to the full-timers. Sister Lee was born in 1917, and she went through a period when China was very much in turmoil, war, Second World War, being moved around and travel all over. But here's the thing. She got saved when she was in college. Then she touched a church when she was in her 20s. Then she entered into Brother Lee's full-time training soon after that. And then after her full-time training, she went and served on the campuses. Doesn't that sound familiar to you? So here is somebody that 70 years ago was just like you sitting here. And today, you look at the picture, those that were in Grace Garden, all you see is a strimpy old woman. And you say, what is this? Where is this woman coming from? A planet? It's just so strange. Well, strip all those outward difference and just look at the bare soul. It's somebody that's just like you and me. And I think Francis Paul used to tell me the story of somebody that went by a tombstone here in Texas. And the tombstone said, just as I was where you are, so you will be where I am. So I'll take that and say, just as Sister Lee was where you are, so you can be where she is. So somebody just like you and me. And then began to love the Lord. And started to serve the Lord full time. And she never thought about getting married. She just was very, very given to her service. She didn't get married to Brother Lee until she was 43. And then Brother Lee was 55 at that time. In that year, Brother Lee lost his first wife like cancer, died. And then at the end of the year, Christmas Eve, December 24th, two elders came to Brother Lee, said, Brother Lee, you need to get married. You got 8 children, and you go around traveling around the churches for your service. You need to get married. And we recommend Sister Lee Baoyi. And what do you think? And Brother Lee prayed about it. And next day, Christmas Day, December 25th, he made the decision, and he talked to another older sister that was familiar with Sister Lee, who was a full-timer in Hall 3 at that time. And that Sister Lee said, oh, that's very good. So he got the confirmation. He wrote a formal letter of proposal and sent it through the sister or the elders, I forgot which one, to Sister Lee. Why do I know so much detail? I have the diary of Brother Lee. So every day's entry is there. But today, the elders talked to me about it. Today I wrote the letter of proposal. Then December 26th, next day, 2 days later, got the work back. Sister Lee said, I have no adverse feeling. No contrary feeling. She said, she has no contrary feeling. Brother Lee wrote on his diary, she has no contrary feeling. So they met, December 26th. Then next entry, January the 2nd, engaged. In meeting hall in Beidou. And next entry, February the 8th, married to Sister Lee. From beginning to end, less than 2 months. After that, the next entry, training before the brother's proposal on Christmas Eve. After marriage, training again, beginning 2 or 3 weeks after the marriage. All right? Why do I mention this? Okay. That's a different world. Brother Andrew, don't apply that to us. I'm not applying to you. I'm just telling you a story. I think here is a consecrated person. And I think that something about that is worth considering. He said, where's the romantic element? Well, there's plenty, but it's after marriage. Where's the dating? Well, didn't you hear? December 26th, that was that date. It's just not Hollywood, that's all. It's just not Hollywood. And is Hollywood truth? No. What is the paradigm? Give me one example in the Bible about dating. Give me one example about dating. All right, I need to be very careful when I talk about these things. I know that, or else I can get into trouble. But that's why I'm telling you Sister Lee's story. It's not just because it's... and I'm saying this, I'm telling you, after you strip all the shrimpy old women and all the appearance and all of that, you get a soul that is just like yours. And here's somebody that is consecrated. And in the funeral, in the memorial meeting, her granddaughter testified that every turn of her life, she went to the Lord, and the Lord said, "Are you a consecrated person?" Again and again. When she wanted to go to the full-time training, she prayed to the Lord. The Lord said, "Are you a consecrated person?" When she was to be married to Brother Lee, and went to the Lord, and the Lord said, "Are you a consecrated person?" So that word just shut up the mouth. Nothing more to say. That is a consecration not just of the heart. It's consecration in action, in life. Okay, I'll move on, all right? Then she got married. And she, what was she doing? She was serving the Lord, but serving in another capacity. Serving in a way that is like Caleb to Joshua. So Joshua won all the battle, but Caleb was there all the way. And when the warfare was finished, Joshua told Caleb, he said, "I'm 85 years old. I'm just as strong as when I first started. Give me this mountain, Hebron." Yeah. So he got Hebron. He was just as much an overcomer as Caleb was. So here it is. You have a person. We only know Sister Lee. We only knew Sister Lee, our older ones, by her shadow. Right. She's always in the shadow. You never see her. Yeah. She didn't give a message. She didn't go back to the bedroom or the dining room and say, "What did the brothers talk about? Tell me about it. And here's my opinion." He never had that. But had there not been a Sister Lee, there wouldn't be a Brother Lee. Okay. 2 stories. 3. Came out at the memorial meeting. Brother and Sister Lee went to a place, and the brothers only prepared 1 bed for the 2 of them. Well, they've been old, and they, each slept in their own bed, and because you rock and so forth. So only 1 bed. So Sister Lee, that Brother Lee, slept on the bed, and she slept on the floor. And the next day, she put the blankets back on the bed so that the host would not see it. Another time, in Taiwan, this time the brothers were more loving. and they had an old bed. They said, oh, we're going to give Brother Lee a new bed. So they put a new bed there. But the new bed was hard. And old folks, they can't sleep on the hard bed. So Brother Lee slept on the old bed again. But Sister Lee, she took a few chairs, put it side by side, and she slept on the chairs. And then next day, she put the chairs back so that nobody would say anything about it or know about it. Well, how did we know? She told her granddaughter. Then she had a brother, really, really close to that brother, almost like her father, raised her up during the wartime and under the covering of his wings. Communists came over. She went to Taiwan, never got to see her brother again until in the 80s. And then China started opening up. And it was 30 years later. And she came very, very close to China in Hong Kong. And she had a chance to go and visit her brother. And she talked to Brother Lee. Brother Lee said, go. I encourage you to visit your brother. So she prayed about it. And after she prayed about it, again, it's the same word. Are you a consecrated person? And she said, after I pray about it, I can't go. What if when I go, something happened to Brother Lee? Then how am I going to face the Lord? That's her word. How am I going to face the Lord? In other words, this is my responsibility. Now you may say, oh, that's a very small testimony. Why are you mentioning that? I'm telling you because, okay, I said, here is a girl, a woman, a sister, and she went through 3 stages of her service life, a long service life. The first stage as a single full-timer. Second stage as partner and as support. Third stage as a retired person, senior one in the church. And before she passed away, she prayed all the time, Lord, make me an overcomer. And I would say that in all 3 stages, she got A+. She was good, approved as a single sister. She was approved as a wife. And she was approved when that responsibility was over and she served as a retired person. And that is no small feat. A person who have never written a book, who have never given a message, who has never drafted an outline, but yet in her service was doing everything what we say should be done. And here, well, let me finish. Then when Brother Lee died in 1997, and she became widow. And what was she doing? Playing golf, playing chess, doing nothing, just passing the time, like what some retired people would. She was strong in the 2 most important functions of the church life, shepherding and praying. That is 80 to 90% of what the church life should be. Making decisions, administrating, deciding on how money should be run, that's very small. You can hire a treasurer and he can do that. You don't need a super elder to do that. What is the biggest need in the church life? Number one, shepherding. Number two, praying. And I'll tell you a little bit about her testimony of praying and shepherding eventually. But how much time do I have? It's till where? Till when?
12:30.
12:30, okay. So here's the thing. I spoke in the full-time training a week after Cicely passed away. I said, here, sisters occupy more than half of the church life. And in life, the same, no different. In function, some difference. So what are the function of a sister, a proper sister in the church life? I listed 7. And for every function, there's 3 levels of application. The first level is wife to husband. Your wife, how you relate to the husband. The second level is it's a picture of Christ and the church. So Christ, the church should be something to Christ. Third level is more general, the place and function of sisters in general in the church life. 3 levels, okay. 7 functions on these 3 levels. Number 1, God, at the beginning, told Eve, I'm going to make you a helper for your counterpart. And if you read the original, the counterpart is not the strong word. The strong word or the focus word is the helper. So first word, helper. So first level of application, wife is helper of the husband. And you say, well, that's a little bit not so glorious. Well, guess what? If all the husbands, their wife sick, they're lost. They're lost. Bill, would you agree with me? You know, Bill is a co-worker. But if his wife is not supporting him, he's gone. He's lost. So, second application, the church to Christ. What is the church to Christ? The church is Christ's helper. In other words, Christ needs somebody to help him, or else he can carry out what he wants. Okay, third, sisters function in the church life. What are they functioning? They're not there to be the deciding person, but they're the helper. Guess what? This weekend, if there's no sisters, you won't be able to eat here. In the home, who's the most important thing? Last night we have 3 brothers, and I love their testimonies. But guess what? Behind them are the sisters. And if the sisters pull their legs, end of story. End of story. But the other way around, if the sisters, they really take up the burden of opening up the home, even if the brothers are a little bit weaker, the home is open.
That's right. That's right.
Number 2, what does the name Eve mean? Living. In other words, they should take the lead to be vital. As a wife, you take the lead to be vital, even when your husband is not vital. As the church, the church should be the vital counterpart of Christ.
Amen.
The church is the Eve, the living part of Christ. And then, number 3 level, sisters. If the sisters are not vital, we brothers are dead. How vital the church life is, great part, more than 50%, depends on the vitality of the sisters. And so some people say, oh, these sisters that are serving full time, after 3 or 4 years, they get married and then we lost them. Don't say that. They change their function. They change from the young sisterly to the mature sisterly. That's what it is. Or you can, put it this way. Or you can, or you may be not. It depends. But if you are, I heard the testimony of Sister Miriam. You're Miriam? I loved your testimony. I think you're equal to 3 full-timers. Come on. So, when you get married, you morph from sisterly 1 to sisterly 2. How's that?
Yeah. Amen.
Be the vitalizing factor. Be the helping factor.
Yeah.
Then what else? She shall bear a seed. The woman is going to bear a seed. So she's the fruit-bearing factor. The woman is the fruit-bearing factor to the man. The church is the fruit-bearing factor to Christ.
That's right.
And sisters in general is the fruit-bearing factor in the church life. Talk about home meeting or open home.
Right.
Who prepared the food?
Right.
Sisters. Who called them? Most of the time, sisters. Who prayed for them? Sisters pray a lot. You just consider an open home. How crucial is the function of the sisters? I just want to give you this vision.
Yeah.
The fruit-bearing factor in all the church life are the sisters. Joseph, Mary. Who bears Christ? Mary. But she needs Joseph for the direction. Number 4. The seed of the woman is going to destroy the devil.
Amen. Amen.
Who destroys the devil? I tell you, the devil coming through the woman, the devil is going to be defeated by the woman. You say, really? Isn't it the brothers, the elders? I tell you, what defeats the enemy? Prayer. Just by making some decision that defeats the enemy? I tell you, the one thing that gives the enemy the death blow is prayer. And Sister Lee, at the last part of her ministry, she said, it's on tape. You can listen to it. It's an open window. And the segment about Mary Shield. Sister Lee said, outwardly, we sisters are weak and cannot do much, but inwardly, we should be the strong ones to pray for God's interest. And she has the list of all the traveling brothers, blending brothers, all their traveling itinerary. And she prays for every single one. And when the traveling brother came back, he said, oh, you just came back from where? From so-and-so place. She knew it because she was praying for it. She prayed for the church in Anaheim when there's a prayer meeting. When there's a gospel meeting. She knew exactly when it is. She took the prayer ministry in a very serious way. And talking about destroying the devil, that destroyed the devil a whole lot more than just, say, like making decisions. Brother Watchman, he said, you got to provide me 20 sisters to pray for this message, or else I couldn't release this message. What does that mean? That means that part of the function is very important. If in a church life, you have strong brothers, sometimes they can get into argument, and they can be pretty thorny. When you have strong sisters that know how to pray, that is the strong church. That is a good church, a healthy, vibrant church. Number 5, the word Sarah. Sarai means my princess. Sarah means princess. In other words, you become everybody's. You're enlarged. You're no longer just your child's, your children's, your husband's. You become enlarged. So the wife should be the enlargement factor of the husband. The church should be the enlargement factor of the church. And sisters, in general, should be the ones that are enlarged in their capacity. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Paul, my heart is enlarged. Putting people into the heart. Who puts it more? The brothers or the sisters? In a home meeting I'm talking about. I have to tell you, in all good homes, it's the sisters that are putting these new ones, these young ones, into their heart. They become the enlargement factor. Then when they are enlarged, then she becomes the mother of all nations. Out of her is born all the nations. And that, of course, is multiplication and increase. Okay, so those are the points. I want to say a word to you sisters. Married ones, be sisterly number 2. Unmarried ones, be sisterly number 1. And tell the Lord, Lord, I'm a consecrated person. Whatever I do is for you. Amen. Yes, childbearing, raising up children, that's the job of a sister. But that's not the only job. That's not the only job. Listen. When you get married, not much change. When you have your first child, a lot of change. And then you think that childbearing is your job. Yes, that is one of the jobs. But the bigger part of the job is all those things that are listed in its application. Now, if you see that, and there's a vision, there is a vision. You're not marrying just for the sake of satisfying your own desire and taking care of your human need. There is a higher need to be a proper sister with the proper function. What I just talked to you are the functions. I'm not talking about life. Life, same. You and I, all the same. Function, we're different. When I open up my home, I cannot do the thing that my wife does. Right, Neil? Maybe your wife, I'm sure your wife, is 3 times the usefulness of a single sister. So sisters, you get married, you can be 3 times more useful. But it depends. It depends. And so we lost 1 good members of the body of Christ, function in the proper way. How about if the Lord would give us 10 more? Lord, make me this. And I'm a brother. I cannot be a sister. And there is some privilege and some honor that the Lord can only bestow to the sisters. So I don't talk about this every day. I talk about it only now that I use this opportunity of Sister Lee's going away to say a word. I first said it to the full-timers, and you're ex-full-timers, so I say it to you. We talk about young working saints, young adults. There's nothing wrong about that. It's not that status is wrong. It's the vision is wrong. Even after you get married, you're still a serving one. And you can be a more effective serving one if you only will. If you only will. So, here is somebody that doesn't look much to you. I hope by this speaking, it will mean something to you. Not that you would go to the graveside and they say, oh, wow, I'm going to memorialize this lady. That's not the point. The point is, in Hebrews chapter 13, it says, consider the issue of their manner of life. And the word consider means, in one lexicon, to ponder from end to end. To ponder his beginning and to ponder his end. To ponder his from end to end. The issue of the manner of life, the word issue does not only mean the result, it means the end. The end of his manner of life. So all of you here who are serving the Lord full time, there is the hope and the possibility that 70 years from now, you will be like this lady.
Right.
And what a glorious hope.
Amen.
As she was going, she was all transformed. Okay. There's 2 places in the New Testament, in the Bible, that describes what a fully mature person is like. One is Song of Songs chapter 8. This person is fully transformed. So the only thing that is left is to aspire and yearn after the rapture. That's chapter 8. And it says, who is she that came forth from the wilderness, leaning on her beloved? And it says, next line it says, change the person from the third person to the Lord. He said, I awaken you from the apple tree, under the apple tree. There, your mother labor on you. What's that picture? That picture is one who has fully lost her own natural strength. And it's coming forth. She has nothing to look back. She has everything to look forward. Coming forth from the wilderness, in that context, the wilderness is not the worldly world, but the physical world. Yeah. She is going out of this world to meet her beloved. Amen. And then the beloved said, I have wakened you up from under the apple tree. All your life, you have been fed by the apple tree. And there your mother, grace you, labor on you. Then the next line says, again change the person. The mature lover said, set me as a seal in your heart, as a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as death. Beautiful. An hour and a half before Sister Lee passed away, she asked people to sit her up. And she said, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And she prayed, and then she leaned on the shoulder of her granddaughter. And the last word that came out of her mouth, hallelujah. And while she was going, the heart was slowly stopping. Her feet were in motion, like she was walking. She was in full expectation to meet the Lord. One picture. Another picture, 2 Corinthians chapter 5. It says, we're groaning to take off this earthly tabernacle so that we can put on the heavenly tabernacle. And Brother Lee said, that's the sign of maturity of a mature believer. That God's full salvation work in her until there's nothing more to do. The only thing left is the redemption of the body, the transfiguration of the body. So she groaned. Groaned not because of the pain, not because of the hurt, not because of the death, suffering, but because now it's like the caterpillar that's ready to come out of the cocoon. So there's the groaning of getting out of the cocoon. That's sign of maturity. Then just tell you one story. When Brother Lee and Sister Lee got married, Brother Lee especially went to the shoe shop and custom made, have people custom made 2 pairs of shoes for Sister Lee. Well, people start gossiping. So Brother Lee is spending too much money on her, his new wife. So she had to put those 2 pair of shoes away. She wore something more frugal and modest. Now, you read 1 Corinthians chapter 5, I think it's verse 5. It says, for the purpose of us putting on the body of transfiguration, God has wrought us. For this purpose, God wrought us. God wrought us for this. For what? For us putting on that body of transfiguration. And Brother Lee in the life study used an illustration. And the illustration is you go to a shoe shop and you custom make the shoes to fit your feet. But in the way God does the transfiguration, He custom made your feet to fit the shoes. So he made you to grow and grow and grow until you're qualified to take on that body of transfiguration. And he wrought you, shaped you for this. And so, for a mature believer, the feet has grown to the right size. So he's more than ready to go to the other realm to put on that shoes. Well, for us, if we die tomorrow, don't think that the resurrection body is going to custom made to fit your size. You better fit that size. Amen. If not, you'll be like David, trying out the armor of Saul. Doesn't fit your size. That's what that verse means. So here is a sister, and I would say, Sister Lee, at those first 2 pairs of shoes, you may have reservation wearing them. But this pair of shoes, you will have no reservation in putting that on. If your feet grow into it. So, I can tell you more story about maturity, what it is. But it's something that all of us can look forward to. Retired saints. There's something to look forward to. It's not just, I lost my job as an elder, I lost my job as this and that. All I could do is just to go to the backyard and mow the lawn and feed the dog. There's a lot that we can do as proper sisters and proper retired person in the church life. Okay. I hope you're blessed with this word. Amen. Doesn't fit in the line of what I talk about. But that's okay, as long as it blesses you. Amen.